Anecdotally, from various local officials, the total would be about 16 people right now dead. Uh, you're not confirming that, but I'm wondering, as you're getting out to these barrier islands now, are you getting people off these islands? You are not finding massive numbers of dead people on these islands?
That is correct. I think but at the same time, they're going to see people that may be visibly in need or knocking on doors, and most of them are saying, I'm fine. If there's no answer, I don't know that they're going into those homes. Now, many of those homes are vacation homes and seasonal residents, so we'll see. Now, there are so what will be confirmed as storm-related, that will happen, relatively soon. I can tell you that there have been some non-storm-related fatalities as well. I mean, for example, in Charlotte County, they reported a suicide during the storm. They also had somebody pass away from a heart attack because you don't have access to emergency services for a certain period of time, and so that could have been somebody, that would have gone to the hospital. So there's a lot of those things. They're working through it, and we'll see. But I can say, I think, Kevin, there's not been in these rescue efforts, deceased people found as of yet. Now that may change, of course, as they do more. But they've been able to lift a lot of people out of those islands, and I know a lot of those people have been happy. But increasingly, there are people who are happy that people are out there looking out for them, but say thank you. We're good. I don't know that is necessarily they're going to want to do that over the long term, because if there's structural damage for some of the underlying services, it's just going to take a little longer for the utilities to be able to get that up and running. But nevertheless, that's the posture a lot of them have taken.
Can you give us a sense, to that point, can you give us a sense of what recovery is going to look like in the hardest hit areas, especially in Lee County, it sounds like? Are we talking about, displacement for months and months on end? Are they going to be able to, are they going to have to send their kids to different schools? Are there schools that are just not going to be able to open for
Well, I think they're all still assessing that. I think that they're looking to see exactly how many people are going to be displaced. Clearly, you have some homes that were a total loss. There's no question about that. How many of those were rental homes? How many of those were permanent residents? I think people are still looking at how many of those were seasonal homes for seasonal residents. I think they're sorting all of that out. As more people come forward, they are keeping the shelters open in Lee County in case people have been displaced and they need a place to stay. Obviously, with FEMA offering individual assistance, people who are going to need housing assistance are going to be able to sign up and get that. So I think you'll have a better sense at that point. But my sense would be, just kind of looking at it, Sanibel had some serious destruction and a lot of destruction on some of the underlying infrastructure, which is obviously important. I mean, they used to not have a bridge there. It would take like a ferry back and forth. Now you're back to kind of before that causeway was there. Fort Myers Beach, really, really serious damage. Some of the other places, when you're in a helicopter looking over, I see the homes are intact. I didn't see massive debris in some of the neighborhoods, but you also don't know how much flood damage that they had, because that water could have been 4 feet at this time yesterday, and then it subsided. And so that will all be things I think that people will determine as the days go on. But I think the folks in Lee, are prepared for some level of displacement. And I know Kevin has worked and FEMA has worked on some solutions, but I don't know that we know exactly how many. Kevin, do you want to add about what you're seeing so far?
So I agree with the governor wholeheartedly on the damage assessment so far. And again, this is aerial damage assessment, flying into the area, flying around, a little bit of the ground transportation that we were doing. I will just add to it, the next step in this recovery process is we will, I say we in support of the local counties, will open up points of distribution where we will have food, water, potentially ice, depending on the situation. And I want to manage that expectation. Ice is usually given to help keep cold medications cold. So if that's the situation, you will be given ice. We will be providing tarps to those counties that have requested tarps so that they can do some emergency repairs. We are looking at turning on a program called the Blue Roof Program, which is slightly different than a tarp through FEMA. And I'm sure FEMA will action that over to the U.S. Army Corps. The next phase of that is going to be the disaster recovery centers that we will open up in the individual counties. This is a place where, again, as the governor has mentioned before, we will team up with the CFO's office to have insurance villages. We will team up with individuals like Department of Economic Opportunity to come in and help people with small business situations. We will team with the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, the Department of Health, vital records, ID cards, driver's licenses, and things like that have been lost, and the other state agency that's helped us out. There's a laundry list of Human Services, Department of Elder Affairs, Veterans Affairs, Children's and Families, and so on. So all of those will start to be set up over the next probably week or so. It just all depends on when we can get water restored to Lee County and the impacted area, and when we can get power restored to the impacted area. As those things happen, we'll move in very quickly with recovery services. I don't want to steal it from the governor, but the governor will be dispatching me to the area. We talked about this on the plane. I will probably be down in the area, in the most impacted area, for probably 30 days or more to ensure that the recovery is being handled effectively and remove any type of bureaucratic issues that might be going on.